Hello everybody, I'm Kelly, the tech guru with Kata Creative. We're here today to talk to you about one of our new cameras in our lineup, the Blackmagic Pocket 4K. This is a really much awaited camera in the Blackmagic lineup. It has all of the features that some of the bigger cameras, well, a lot of the features that some of the bigger cameras have, but it shoots in 4K. It's going to give you a really nice clean image in a small package. We have some of the bigger cameras, and the Ursa Mini Pro is definitely a better overall camera than this, but this has its uses. Every tool has its use. Today we're going to be going over some of the basic features and talk about why we picked the Pocket Cinema 4K. First off, this is a Micro Four Thirds lens mount. The sensor is slightly larger than your average Micro Four Thirds, but it still can be used with Micro Four Thirds lenses. Very common is to use a lens adapter and use other lenses such as Nikon or Canon lenses. Or you can just use the Micro Four Thirds. A lot of people will build this up. You know, they'll put cages on it, rigs on it, lots of extra things, battery grips and things to attach. Now, we've thought a lot about this. We've decided to keep it more slimmed down. We have an Ursa Mini Pro, we have 3 Ursa Minis and 4K, and we have the original 4K production camera, which is actually mounted up there for our above view currently. So we don't need a camera that can do everything because we have multiple cameras. So in our situation, we really like to keep it more stripped down. Generally going to be using a smaller lens, a wider lens. So we're going to use this more stripped down. We have the battery inside. We also have a battery attachment, but we're not going to currently have plans to rig it out to have more options in a cinema or in a video shoot. This gives us flexibility. I know our creative wizard Dave likes to use it just handheld. You know, the walk around, he can get in and get the shot that he needs without having a bunch of encumbrances all over the place. It also makes it a lot easier to put it on our gimbal because it's just a more basic set. Now, you may say, pocket, what kind of pocket? Well, there are pockets out there this will fit in, just none on me currently. It is not a camera you're going to slip in your pocket unless it's a large vest, shooting vest or something like that, especially once the lens is on. So let's run over the basic features. We have the 2 microphones. We have your record button, your control knob that will scroll between different things depending on which button you hit, whether you hit ISO or white balance. One of the interesting features that they built into this model is there's a little photo button. So you can actually take a photo, it saves it as a photo on the card for framing purposes. So you've got your shot lined up, hit the photo button, now it saves a little still frame of what you've done. That can be great for location scouting. It can also be really good for coming back another day and trying to match up the shot you had before. So we've made the decision to go with all Canon batteries. Now there's a lot of people out there that have decided, oh, I can use a cheaper battery. But in our situation, we want the best. We want the battery indicator to work. Some of the aftermarket batteries, they don't register correctly in camera. And we even went the extra step. We got the LP-E6N, which is the battery that works with the 5D Mark V. So yes, we do have an external battery. You can also plug it into the wall, but we made sure to buy the Canon branded batteries because it takes Canon. These batteries may seem expensive when you compare them to the aftermarket batteries, but compared to the V-Locks and the other expensive batteries that we use in our video production, these are cheap. Now, your mileage may vary on how long you get off of a fresh battery. We seem to get about 35-40 minutes. If you do want to use that electronic stabilization built into the lens, then you're going to draw more power. So on this side, you can see we have the HDMI, audio in, USB, 12 volt power, microphone, headphones. Now there's a lot of talk online about these covers being annoying. I think that, you know, they're not that bad. I wish that they were slightly, the lead was slightly longer on there so that you could get it out of the way just a little bit more. But some people are removing these. I don't see a need to remove these. They work for our situation. That being said, we tend not to use the HDMI out. The only thing we really use is the power in. We also sometimes use an audio in, but again, it's more of a stripped down camera for us. It's a run and gun, capture what you need, you know, grab it and go, not a rigged out cinema camera, because we have cameras that fill that need. It's got a 1/4-20 on the top and a 1/4-20 on the bottom. Now Blackmagic themselves say this 1/4-20 on top is not designed to hold a lot of weight. So if you are using this camera, be careful with how much weight you put onto that. That's for small accessories. Maybe if you're using a wireless solution straight into camera, then, you know, a small one like a Sennheiser or the Rode mic, then you can go there with that. Now our wireless solution, we use the Zaxcom. Our QRX 200 receiver is bigger than this unit, so it wouldn't really be a good solution for this shooting with this camera. Let's see what else we got. It fits great in the hand. It really, I mean, I think Dave could probably, if he was here, he could probably, well, he is here, right? He's behind camera doing the creative wizardry. It really fits in your hand well. The other pocket, the original pocket that shot 1080 and not 4K, was a great little camera, but I kind of like a little heft. It reminds me of a 5D Mark II, 3, 4, or 5. It fits good in your hand. It gives you a little weight, a little stability when you are trying to use it in a handheld situation. I've got under here in our grab bag, I've got some accessories. Now, one of the ones we bought specifically for gimbal work, but finding out we're using it a lot more for a variety of different purposes. This is a Laowa 7.5 f2 lens. Now, with this crop on this camera, that comes out to about a 14 millimeter in a full frame crop. That's going to get us a nice wide shot. It's great for gimbal work. It also, again, is pretty small and simple. So when you're walking around getting the shot, you know, a nice wide shot, you've got a nice, easy lens to use. Now we have a gear on here that works with our gimbal for focusing. You can, like I mentioned before, use adapters. Now we have kind of just started in the Micro Four Thirds world, and we use a lot of Canon L lenses. We also have some PL lenses that would be monstrous on this, but we use a lot of the Canon PL. So we decided to go with the Viltrox. Now, again, if you're on the message boards, you will see a lot of people complaining about these Viltrox. Now, we haven't had too many issues with them. The Metabones adapter is the top of the line. It's the way to go. If you have the money, go ahead and get the Metabones, because you're going to be happy with it. We were just wanting to adapt the lenses we had to this camera, because we have a assortment of really great lenses. So we bought the EF M1 and the EF M2. Now the EF M1 doesn't have any optics in it. If you open it up here, you'll see there's no optics in. So what you're getting is just electronic lens control of the Canon EF lenses straight to the sensor. However, we tend to use the EF M2, which does have the focal reducer. What you're gonna get here with this model that has a lens in it. I don't know if you can see that from above. It has a lens in it. Now, I could probably use a puffer on that one. That's gonna make your lens appear wider. It's also gonna give you an extra stop of light. Because what's happening is it's magnifying the image from the lens onto the sensor. So it makes the lenses closer to what you're expecting. We use, especially handheld, we use a lot the Sigma 18 to 35, which is currently on the above camera here, or I would have it mounted to the camera. And that is still, it's not a small lens, but it's on the smaller side compared to some of the Canon L series lenses like this, the 24 to 70 or the 70 to 200 especially. So with this adapter on this camera, that's the 18 to 35 is gonna be roughly equivalent to a 24 to 70, which is a great all-around shooting lens, especially in a handheld. Any longer than that, you're going to get a little shaky. You're going to want a tripod and some sort of stabilization. We haven't had any issues. We've gone through extensive testing. There's some mentions online of this adapter having flaring, ghosting. We really haven't seen that. But from everything that I can see, and we haven't tested the Metabones, but everything I've used the Metabones before, it's generally just a better adapter, better optics, better design. It's also 6 times the price. So for us just getting the basic ability to use the lenses we already owned with this camera, we went with the Viltrox. Your mileage may vary. That's one of the things that happens with the lower end products, is that the quality control isn't the same. So one item to the next they're not the same quality. So one of the things we really love about this camera is the fact that it matches so well with our Ursa Mini Pro. It does match fairly easy with our Ursa Mini 4Ks, but the Ursa Mini Pro and this camera are really a dream to match. So it's a great camera to use in a 2-camera interview setup. If you're shooting B-roll that you want to match what you've shot with the Ursa Mini Pro, this is a great addition to the lineup. You're going to get your flavors of ProRes, your Proxy, your LT, your 422, your HQ, and I believe XQ. Was that? I never used that, so I'm not sure what the HQ. Yeah, just HQ, 422, and LT and Proxy. Now, this camera is also set up for Blackmagic Raw. We have run the most current update, so this camera no longer shoots in the Cinema DNG format. It shoots in the more, slightly more compressed RAW of the Blackmagic Raw. The advantages to that are huge. You're going to be able to fit more onto a card. Yet still have the control in post to control the ISO, the white balance. You can see here we've got constant quality, constant bitrate, and different ratios we can choose. The Blackmagic Raw, though, as opposed to the original Cinema DNG, would give you a folder full of image files that you had to use some program to kind of convert it into video. Now Davinci Resolve does come with this camera and all of the cameras, but the Blackmagic Raw is a little bit more flexible because what you're getting is a container that has all of the information in it. You're getting one file. There's what they call it a sidecar. You can go in and change the settings in the image, in the file. You can change the ISO, you can change the white balance, save it, come out. When you open that file up into any program that recognizes it, which currently is just Davinci Resolve or the Blackmagic Raw viewer program, you're going to be able to see the changes that you made in that sidecar. You're changing data. That's because the camera is recording data straight off the sensor in the Blackmagic Raw, or in any RAW shooting actually. So you're not baking in the white balance, the ISO to the file like you are with almost every video camera ever in existence. You know, that's one of the reasons why they call this a cinema camera, because you do get that raw ability. Now, we tend to shoot primarily in Ultra HD with this camera. We do shoot 4.6K with the Ursa Mini Pro. It gives us a little flexibility when we're doing, you know, 4K. Currently, we have the Ursa Mini Pro set up at this angle right here, and that angle is, we're doing 4K Ultra HD, 3840 by 2160, because all the other cameras are set up to that. So we're matching that. But in certain situations, we will set the Ursa Mini Pro to 4.6K just to give us a little bit of reframing options in post when we are posting in 4K or in 4K. If we're posting in 1080, Ultra HD is going to be fine because you know, we've got that 4 times resolution already. So you'll see here the camera is a touchscreen like all of the modern Blackmagic cameras. You have your monitor settings, your record settings, your setup, your presets. You can do viewing LUTs. You can load your own, and there are some presets. The Blackmagic menu system is really a breeze. I mean, even someone who is not a camera expert can go in and see clearly what it is and make changes. I've worked with camera experts that touch these cameras for the first time, and they're blown away at how easy and simple it is to get in and control the features in the camera. There's a lot of other good cameras out there. Red makes decent cameras. Arri makes arguably the best digital cinema camera that's out there. Sony makes some great cameras. Canon makes some great cameras. All of their menus are atrocious. It really seems like they were designed by engineers, not by artists or operators who need simple access to all of the controls. You don't have to scroll through menus and submenus and see bizarre engineering terms. It's very clearly laid out. So like I said, even somebody who's not a camera expert can go in and control these cameras. Some quick rundown on the features. This camera is the first one Blackmagic made to offer dual ISO or dual native ISOs. So when you get when you're changing the ISO, this camera can go up to, what is it, 12, oh, I got it right here. Nope. 25,600. I don't know if you can see it there, but that, I have the lens cap on and that's red and grainy. We would never, ever shoot 25,600 unless we were in some sort of documentary situation. We were just needed to get the absolute amount of light, and we were doing a quick turnaround. Like we needed to get it on the internet or to a news station very, very quickly because there was something happening in next to no light. Generally, you're going to want to shoot at a lower ISO and then boost it in post because the camera is boosting it internally anyway. So why force the camera to do the work when you have a computer for editing at home that can do that kind of boosting, and you get a little bit more fine tuning and get exactly what you want. So generally, we tend to shoot, most of the time we shoot at 1250 ISO. That, especially with combined with the speed of our lenses, has been really good for us. We do sometimes boost it up into the 1600, 2000 range. And of course, if it's bright out, you know, we might go down to like a 400 ISO and maybe even use some neutral density to stop it down a little bit more. But it gives you the flexibility. Again, run and gun, handheld shooting, you've got the option of changing the ISO real quick instead of running to the grip truck and getting more lights and rigging up, and you say, okay, nope, I got it here. I'll just change the ISO real quick and we've got the shot. Let's move on. Let's see, is there anything else I haven't mentioned about this camera? Oh, the price, which, you know, this is probably the one situation where I don't have my phone on me. I'm pretty sure the price is $1,295. And that is with a single battery from Blackmagic, the power adapter to plug it into the wall, and the Davinci Resolve dongle. And that's it. So you're really going to want to, the basic thing you're going to want is some sort of more power, whether it be more Canon E6 batteries or some sort of external solution that uses maybe a D-tap or something like that, because, you know, it has the 12 volt input through the side. So might as well talk about the ways in which you can record your information. Now, this camera has two internal memory options. It has an SD card option and a CFast 2 card option. If you go with an SD card, you definitely want to get a very fast card. This camera can produce massive data rates. So we use Angelbird. They've been working for us and they work really well. We have a 128 gig Angelbird card that we originally purchased for our Video Assist 4K. And we also have a variety of CFast cards that we use with our Ursa Mini lineup. We currently are using the it's not Pirate Bay, PirateCom? Computer Bay with a K. The thing you definitely want to do with the memory cards is go to the website blackmagic.com, blackmagicdesign.com, and only use the supported cards. The forums are littered with people saying, hey, this card doesn't work. Well, it's not on the list. And there's a reason for that. Now, the card may be rated at a certain speed, but can it handle sustained writes at that speed? And if it can't, chances are Blackmagic has tested it, and there's a reason why it's not on the list. Now, sometimes the card is too new to be on the list and it's added later, but if you buy this camera and you're gonna use memory cards in it, definitely use the ones that are on the list. You can get away with slower cards if you're shooting in 1080, which tends to use a slower data rate. You can also use slightly slower cards if you're shooting in the compressed ratios of Blackmagic Raw because of how efficient that codec is. But I still highly recommend getting the card that will do all of what you need to do with this camera. You don't want to be in a situation where you're like, oh, let's shoot 60 frames per second of ProRes HQ. Oh no, that card we bought doesn't support that. The other option that's interesting with this camera is using the USB. There are several hard drives on the market that are small SSDs used primarily generally for your laptop that you can plug directly into the USB and record to them. Now, the advantage of these is going to be somewhat, you're saving a little bit of money. You're also getting massive storage capacity. I think we're sitting in about 1 terabyte is all you can get in a CFast card right now, is the fastest you can get, and those cost over $1,000. You can get a 2 terabyte in the USB drive that costs, I believe, around $500. I don't have the exact numbers on that because we don't use that. One of the reasons why we don't use that is, again, we want to be able to use this in a quick run and gun way. We don't want to have an extra hard drive mounted up here with cables and accessories. The other reason is we already invested in CFast cards for our Blackmagic Ursa Mini lineup. So we have the storage we need for most of the jobs we do with this camera. If we do need more storage, we're probably getting paid to do the job, so we'll rent or buy more cards to make the job happen. That's kind of the path that we're on right now. But they have made it an option to use a USB-C SSD drive, and again, there's a list of approved ones: the Samsung, SanDisk, and I believe Wise is another company that makes a drive that will work with this. But for us currently, we don't have one. I don't have one to show you because that's not the solution that we need. It's kind of one of the great things about this camera is you can fit it out to be used exactly how you need it, and that's what we've done. We've got great cameras for throwing it on your shoulder or throwing it on a tripod and getting a great shot. This isn't that camera for us. It could be for you. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, there's pre-programmed function buttons up here, on-off switch. I don't know. We probably will never use the strap holders here. Like you could put the straps in and hang it around your neck like a traditional DSLR camera, but they are on there for your use. And oh yeah, we'll show the audio options. This is another great feature of the camera. We've got the option of using a 3.5 millimeter or an 1/8 inch input, but it also has a micro a mini XLR, and I believe, and yes, the mini XLR with the proper cable can also be used to set time code in this camera. Again, generally not something we need to do with this camera. We generally just turn the microphones on and use the audio waveform for sync, whether it be within the editing program itself or with a program like Pluralize. So for us, all around, it's a great addition to the family. We have shot several projects entirely with this. We've shot a couple projects where this was an additional camera, and it really fits in well with our workflow and with our other cameras. So if you're considering the Blackmagic Pocket 4K, Pocket Cinema 4K, it's a great all-around camera. Every tool has its uses. There are some cameras that are better in low light. There are some cameras that are better, that have a larger sensor so that they get more shallow depth of field with a given lens. But this camera is a great little package for a great price, and it's a great starter cinema camera for any of you out there that are trying to get into making your own movies. When I started making my own movies, the only option for a low-budget filmmaker was a VHS camera. And if you don't know what VHS is, go on Wikipedia, look it up. It was a tape that was larger than this camera that had to go into a camera that would go on your shoulder, and the quality was atrocious. So we really have a dearth of cinema options, cinema quality options out there today. This camera has been used in Hollywood. Generally, when they use it on a high-end film, they're going to use it for a crash cam, for a cam in a camera mounted somewhere where they don't really care if it gets smashed and broken. Now, I care if this gets smashed and broken, so we definitely store it in a case where it's nice and safe. But because of the budgets, big budget Hollywood budgets, this is something that they can mount onto a car, mount near an explosion, and if it does get blown up, well, we got the shot. So there's a lot of great resources out there to learn about this camera. Of course, you have this YouTube channel and other YouTube channels. I also recommend joining some of the user groups on Facebook. The Blackmagic site itself is a great resource. an excellent resource for a lot of information about Blackmagic cameras is bmcuser.com. I've been on that site since the beginning, and it's really specific to the Blackmagic world. That people do talk about other things on that site, on that forum, but it's really a great site full of very knowledgeable people to bounce ideas off of. So yeah, hopefully if you decide that you want this camera, you'll pick it up and make some great films with it, or make some great videos with it, and you'll let us know about them. Let us see them. So for now, I'd like to say thank you from Cato Creative, and please like and subscribe, and we'll be here to tell you about some more products. We're looking to do some more interesting reviews in the future. We're going to do the Ursa Mini Pro, the Ursa Minis, the ATEM. We have a very large selection of Blackmagic family here. You've been looking at all of the Ursas today, and hopefully we'll have some great videos that'll help you learn and maybe spark some creativity. So for now, I'm Kelly, the tech guru at Cato Creative. Thank you very much.